I always talk about that was me in my pain, right? But I needed to speak. I was stifled for 55 years. And then I find out that my ex-husband is telling lies. I start unraveling all his lies. And I'm like, and I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to be quiet. And
Yeah.
so that to me was the first thing I did. And I had such a big response to that I was like, oh, there's something here, not just being petty, but people going like, that happened to me.
Welcome to the That's Where I'm At podcast. I'm Laura, happily divorced after spending years with a narcissist. I believe keeping secrets will make you sick and that they always come to light in the end. As women, we're often told to be quiet, don't share your story, don't talk about the things we go through. It's making women sick, sad, and suicidal. We don't have to be on the other side to share our story. This show is for the women still in the middle of the mess, but showing up bravely as they heal. It's time to share these stories with each other so we can learn, grow, and heal together. I'm Laura, and that's where I'm at.
Hey, it's Laura. If while you're listening today, something hits a little too close to home, if you find yourself thinking, how does she know exactly what I've been through? It's because I've lived it too. I want to remind you that I offer one-on-one coaching for women who are ready to stop questioning their worth, heal from the mind games, and start reclaiming a life they actually want to wake up to. Check the link in the show notes to book a call today. Now here's the episode. Please take note that this episode may contain subjects that may be triggering to certain listeners. Please take care when listening today.
All right, you guys. So you are probably used to hearing Laura since you are on That's Where I'm At podcast. But we decided we would change it up for year two. And I, who have been her podcast producer for almost 3.5 years now, to celebrate year two, we're going to dig into all the things that you probably didn't share with your audience on social or on your podcast, because I've gotten a first front row seat to you transforming from this woman that was low-key scared of her own shadow when I met you on Zoom several years ago to somebody who's really stepped into their power and their mission and their message. And so I am so excited for this.
Yay!
It is a part of who you have gotten to become and who I've gotten to see that people don't probably really know. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
so
me too.
We're going to win, girl. We're just going to
I'm so excited. To celebrate 2 years of That's Where I'm At podcast, we're going to talk about everything. And it's so funny when I get interviewed that people say like, oh, tell us something that you haven't told anybody. And I'm like, I've told all my business.
That's how I feel about Resilient Heart too. We're year 5. I'm running out of stories, y'all. I get it.
I mean, and people want to hear them and they're so connected to them. So yes, but let's talk about it because you've been with me behind the scenes on my healing journey. I don't talk about that. I talk about that I've been on a healing journey, but I'm not talking about where I would call you at all hours of the day and night, just crying and sobbing and sending voice clips of me just sobbing and going like, I'm never going to get over this. And I have no friends. So we need to talk about all that.
No. So I want to take everybody back to Laura on that very first phone call, which it's wild to me because we just found out it's 3 years since we actually got added together on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I remember that call for a couple of reasons. And it's probably a couple of reasons that I have never even told you. It's this thing that I've gotten to learn and which I think makes me as good at what I do as I do, because I can see people. I'm a seer. I can see what's to come when people can't figure it out, which sucks for me because I can't see it for myself. Everyone else can see it, but I can see. We were on this very first call, and I was like, man, there's like this fire in her that I don't even know if she has. She has like figured out that it's there because of everything that you've been through from your marriage and all of those years with somebody who treated you in a way that you never deserved.
Yeah.
And then all the pieces of your learning with your family and how everything, I think people forget when you figure out it's time to heal, how much changes and how lonely it gets. And the Laura I got to meet 3+ years ago is she doesn't exist. And I think that
No.
is beautiful. And I think as we start this episode and really like dig into these questions, I really want to talk to the woman that's listening that maybe Laura 3 years ago, that's like, all I want to do is cry. Maybe I'm scared to do my healing. Maybe I'm scared to admit the fact that my family is toxic or I am in a relationship that is horrible for my self-esteem. I have gotten to watch you transform and grow into this beautiful light of a person from somebody that I feel like never got the opportunity to really step into that for 33 plus years.
Yeah.
And I think, man, like I love, and I told you this very early on when everything settled out and I had added you on Facebook because I was like, oh my God, I just loved her. I was like, I just like you. If you never fucking hire us to do your podcast, I really was not tied to the outcome in any shape or form.
Yeah.
But I'm an energy girl and I thought you were such a sweetheart. And so we became friends before you ever started working with me.
Yeah.
And I remember you sent me a message and you were like, so I'm getting a divorce. And I was like, oh dear God. Right? Is that good? Is that good? Is that bad? Like, because we hadn't really talked about it. And it made me feel really special that you shared that with me because I know you hadn't made that information public yet.
Yeah.
But on that very first call, you said something about the show that we had originally done. And then you were like, what if I want to do my own? And it was like this glimmer of you seeing something in yourself or feeling something within yourself that you're like, this is probably step one, but there's a step two when I shed step one that I can kind of see just a little glimpse of.
And I had no idea about at all. Like there was just something that I wanted because I was never allowed to. And my listeners know that when you're in abuse, you're not allowed to do something because it's easier to keep that peace by just making yourself as small as possible. And me being on camera or on a podcast or on social media, he always told me I was embarrassing and just all the things, just insert all the ridicule. And so I didn't even know what I meant by that, but I knew I wanted to do something. I had an idea of like, I think I would want to do my own podcast, but I didn't even know about what, because we didn't know anything at that point. I didn't know what was
you
going
weren't there yet.
No.
But I think so many of us and the women that are listening probably have had those moments too. And they distinguished the light. They like shoved it down. They were like, oh, not me. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. And the stories that we end up telling ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of when we are coming out of abuse are nothing that will ever serve the woman that we're becoming. And I think for you, one of the cool things to watch was that at every stage through this process, you have made that bitch shut up. You're like, nope, I'm going to cry through it. I'm probably going to they're going to be snot bubbles. I'm going to be like, I'm going to have 0 friends. Are you going to be my only friend when I'm done? Like, is this what's going to happen?
I know.
And it does. And I think I would love to ask you, what would you tell Laura 3 years ago? Because there is a Laura you 3 years ago that needs to hear that message.
Oh my gosh, that you're going to do everything afraid. And doing it afraid and being scared of what you do not know, what is happening right now. You have no idea and you don't even know what's on the other side and you're scared to leave or you just left and you're like, what the hell did I do? And what am I doing now? You're going to just figure it out and you're going to do it afraid. And that doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. That's what I would tell the person who's listening right now. But even to me, I didn't know that. I thought if it felt wrong and felt scary, then it was the wrong choice. I made the wrong decision. This wasn't right. And I couldn't figure out why I was even getting a divorce. And, listen to episode 1 for that. But I mean, we can talk about all that. But, I just have learned that doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It just means it's something new. And so I've spent the last 2 years just of this podcast, but the last almost 3 years of healing from my divorce, of doing it afraid, not knowing what was next. I can't see the whole staircase, but I'm taking the next step and just figuring it out. And I fell down a lot of times, and that's okay.
No, I think we all do. And I think sometimes what I think sometimes happens with women is it's not that they're scared of what could go right or what could go wrong. They're scared of what could go right. Because when you are basically hardwired and trained within abuse for even 3 months, 6 months, 3 hours, that changes who you are and your beliefs in ways that is wild to uncover, but also heartbreaking, because I've gotten to help and support women like you for the last 5 years, and seeing the light come back on will be forever the thing that just makes my heart like, because so many women don't. We don't make that shift, and we don't make that commitment to ourselves. We're like, let me just work on pretty clothes. Let me not do the inside work. And you were like, nope, I'm going to dig through all my shit and figure it out. And then when I figure some of it out, I'm going to get a mic and I'm going to tell all of it.
And I'm going to tell everybody. Yeah, because I thought after 33 years, I was like, oh, Laura hasn't known who she is for 33 years. And then I was like, then I started digging. I'm like, nope, for all my life, 55 years. As I was 55 when we got divorced. So after 55 years, I still didn't know who I was because of family systems, societal systems,
religious systems.
Yes, exactly. So everything around me was saying, this is who you should be. And I was like, but I want to be, well, I don't know what I want to be, but I want to figure out who I want to be without anyone saying that's right or wrong. And so sometimes I overcorrect when people go, oh, well, that's okay if you want to do that. And I'll be like, I don't need your approval, but thank you. I don't want to overcorrect, but that's how I feel. None of us have to get approval from anybody else to do anything. And that was hard to learn in all the systems I was sitting in. Every single system I was sitting in was toxic. And that was so hard.
It's a scary place to be. And you're kind of looking around going, where is somebody that can anchor me into what's supposed to come, even though I don't really know? And to getting to be one of those people that got to hold your hand and be the other, whether I'm across the country or sitting in my living room, getting to be somebody who's been able to watch and support and love on you through this process has been a gift for me as in my business, but more so as somebody who I consider family at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's been such a blessing for sure.
No, it's been incredible. What was the moment for you from that initial phone call to the text that you sent me, like, I think I want to do my own podcast and I know I want to call it what I want to call it? Because usually clients come to us, they're like, I have no fucking clue what I want to call it. I just want, this is what I think I want to talk about. This is a random idea that kind of like came to me when I was journaling. And you came so prepared. Like, this is the thing. I know this is the thing.
Yeah.
What was that moment for you right before that decision was made or right after?
Like, it was all piecing together. I was doing some coaching with a friend. And so we would do this catching up, and because we're friends, but she was also coaching me. But so she was like, well, let's catch up. Tell me, let's do before we start our coaching. And so I would always say, well, and that's kind of where I'm at. And then I just stopped one day and I said, wait, is that something? And so what I've learned in my years is that when something like that happens, just like, you don't have to know what it means, just write it down. And I didn't know what it meant, but it started to kind of like piece together. Because I followed that one breadcrumb, then I kept seeing more. And so that to me, it was starting to come alive. But I'll tell you what you told me the first time I said I wanted to do a podcast. You said, you're not ready yet. And I thank you for that. And I tell people that all the time who say like, I want to do a podcast. And after I talk to them a little bit, I'll be like, well, we want to make sure we're talking not out of our wound, right?
A scar, not the wound.
Yes. But you said, we don't want to speak out of our wound. Oh, we want to speak out of our healing. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that's what you told me. And I was like, oh, I get it. So I don't remember being like, okay, well, now I got to hurry up and do more healing. I don't remember that. I just remember we had a lot of conversations, you and me, in my healing journey. And then one day I was like, I feel like I'm ready. And you said, yeah, I think you are. I don't think there was any one thing in particular, but I'm like, I'm just ready. I had been through so much crap even on my healing journey, like it was ridiculous that I was like, wait, I need to talk about this. Somebody give me a microphone.
Yeah, hurry up, give a bitch a mic. I'm gonna light it up. No.
Well, because the first thing I was doing was making petty videos on Facebook, which was great. It felt great. That was me. I always talk about that was me in my pain, right? But I needed to speak. I was stifled for 55 years. And then I find out that my ex-husband is telling lies. I start unraveling all his lies. And I'm like, and I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to be quiet. And so that to me was the first thing I did. And I had such a big response to that I was like, oh, there's something here, not just being petty, but people going like, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me. And people I didn't know, dear friends who I see all the time, I didn't know they had been through it too, because we don't talk about it. So,
Right.
and now we do.
It's such a like, I don't know if it's taboo, if it's we're taught not to, but I'm like, man, the thing that I think people don't realize, and I know you and I've had this conversation a million times over the last 3 years, is those moments when you get the messages from women that are like, I didn't know there was somebody else that had gone through this, or that felt like I did, or that experienced the type of abuse or treatment that I've walked through.
Yeah.
And I think we unintentionally don't realize how powerful the unleashing of the story is.
Yeah.
Because it really does, one, it gets it out of you and gets some of that heaviness gone from like things that you've carried and shoved down and justified with shame and all of these ways that we're like, well, maybe I deserve that. And maybe that was okay. And maybe this is all that I'm supposed to get. And then as you start kind of peeling back the layers of the shit, you're like, nope, absolutely fucking not. We're going to talk about it. And I love that you have been so unapologetic about it, because I told you way back then, I'm like, you can literally build the life of your fucking dreams now. And getting to watch you be on Good Morning Texas and have your book go Amazon bestseller and your journals go Amazon bestseller. Like,
it's so crazy.
I make you sit and go, I need you to sit in this and just allow the joy of this.
Because I don't.
Because you don't, but you're not, we're all the same way.
Yeah.
Why we all need somebody to be like, no, bitch, sit in that, and not sit in the sadness, sit in the like, get the ugly tears out that are just like, holy shit, I did that. Yeah. Because we don't take that time. And I love that I made you do it, because you were probably like, bitch, with this, sit in it. Like, stop telling me that.
And you're like, do a launch party for your book. I'm like, no, why? Why should I do that? And doing the launch party and having people that I haven't seen in forever show up and come and support me and buy my books and ask for my autograph and all those things and take pictures with me and celebrate me. It's not anything I was used to. And I kind of talked about this today on somebody's post who was talking about, I saw who didn't show up for me. And that for me was really key. And that was still part of that was a year ago that my book came out. And that was key for me. And like, I saw who didn't show up, not physically, because people have lives, but I'm saying like that didn't ever say one word to me, who are supposedly my friends. And that to me was very telling. And I had to learn to not take that personally and say, that person is not right for my life. And that person doesn't belong in my circle anymore, because that's not who I am. And what I'm finding is healed Laura doesn't make sense to some people, because I actually have boundaries. If you can't walk all over me, to some people that doesn't work.
Yeah, no. And I think because we are hardwired for connection and community and love and friendship and all of those pieces, when we're actively shedding who we used to be, what we used to believe, figuring out and like digging through the garbage that we've experienced and going, okay, this, I'm okay. I can keep this. This, absolutely not. And it is a process that I don't think enough people do, because it is not fun. It is ugly and it is horrific to walk through.
Yeah.
But there's been this shift for you in your posture and within your voice that has been my favorite. And as somebody who's gotten a front row seat for these last 3 years, it's made me cry more times than I probably told you, because I
Aw.
see, when I think about that Laura 3.5 years ago on that first Zoom call,
Yeah.
your voice was so tiny and you were
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we can do this. Like, that's literally how you're
Yeah.
talking. She doesn't even know and she doesn't see it.
Yeah.
And then I get to see it and I'm like,
And now I'm just like loud and proud. And this is the thing I've learned is that because shame, my whole premise of my podcast is that we're going to bring these stories to the light because shame is broken when we do that. Because I walked in so much shame. I felt like I walked in it all my life for maybe even things I didn't even know I should be ashamed about, or maybe people are saying like, you should be ashamed of that. And then going through abuse and feeling ashamed that I had, like, that I didn't see it. I'm like, that's like bullshit. Like, why should I be ashamed of that? How about we talk about him? So while I don't focus on him, there's plenty of days I talk about him. Plenty of days.
no. And I think too, so often we don't share these stories or we don't talk about them because we're told we don't, what's done in the house stays in the house. You know, we
Yeah.
don't do our business and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I do think, like when I told you, like, you're not ready yet,
Yeah.
it wasn't to smack your hand or to
Yeah.
smack you down. I just wanted you to give yourself more time to kind of settle into this new world that you were living in. This, I'm now single after being married for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm moving with family. And then now there was
Yeah.
so much that I wanted you to be grounded in, because the thing that I can't articulate properly when it comes to producing podcasts for people is I know the shift will happen. And I knew it because I got to watch it within myself and I get to see it with clients every day.
Yeah.
The freedom that comes from taking those stories and putting them out to the whole wide world and owning it and being like, yep.
I mean, it's so crazy to me. And when you said that to me, you said, you're going to have some, it was sort of like the last thing we're, signing up to do the podcast. And then you're like, you're going to have so much more healing. And I was like, wait a second. I didn't sign up for that, and you're like, you're going to have so much healing while you're doing your podcast. And I was like, okay, okay. I don't understand what that means. And it's hard to explain even now, but I feel like I'm almost having therapy every time I'm on a call with somebody and I'm recording with them and they're telling me their story. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, me too. And I'm not alone anymore. And then everybody who DMs me and tells me, my God, your story is my story and I don't feel alone. That was it. That was the whole reason to do it. So that, because I felt so alone until I started using my voice. And so it's so weird that real-time healing you have when you start using your voice that is hard to explain. I can't explain it. That's the best
No,
I
and
can.
I've spent almost 6 years trying to be like, let me tell you what happens when you launch a fucking podcast. And I still can't quantify it almost
Yes.
6 years later from when I started this process of Resilient Heart. There is this different points for you that I got to sit with you within. And I want to talk a little bit about not the tough times, but the excitement of getting to top 5% global.
Yeah.
Where it was going top 10%, then going top 5%, then these different benchmarks. I told you more than one occasion, I'm like, bitch, you're going to pass me up. And I am cheering every motherfucking day for that to happen.
Yeah.
Because my goal as a podcast producer and just as somebody that gets to pour in love on women in this way is if I can make you go faster than it took me, that means I'm on the right track. And there's no gatekeep. There's no tamping you down. Like, no, fucking let's open the floodgates and get this going.
Yeah.
But I would love for you to talk about some of those successes, because we are horrible at celebrating the shit we do that's dope as hell. And so I'm going to make you brag on yourself a little bit and talk, because I'm not going to tell people what some of this cool shit has been.
Oh, God.
Talk a little bit about some of that, whether it's some messages that you've gotten, some ways that you've seen yourself that you didn't realize. What are like 2 or 3 top tier of the last couple of years that you're like, yes, bitch, this Laura, like, she built different now.
I mean, it was crazy. You were asleep when I went top 5%. And I love that you don't gatekeep, because I mean, truly, if you don't know Gabi, that's how she is. She doesn't gatekeep and go like, aren't I great? She goes, this is how I did it. Let's go. You can do it too. And then just drags you. Even if you don't want to go, she drags you.
At different points, because I know you're like, bitch, I need you to leave me alone. I'm like, no, we got shit to do. Let's go.
So I know you were sleeping when I texted you and said, because we were you're on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. And I said, hope you're asleep because I hope your phone is off because I just went top 5%. And it's so crazy to me. And my numbers, that other number that we look at, not just the percentage, but the other number, whatever it means in podcast land, has gone up as well. And so it's amazing to me. And then like getting cold called from, Good Morning Texas to come
Like,
up.
that ain't never happened to me in 6 fucking years. Miss year and a half in. It's like, so I have a thing. And I'm like, I cried when I looked at it because I was like, 3 years ago, Laura could
Yeah.
never.
Never.
You would have said no. You would have been like,
oh yeah,
absolutely not. I'm not going to do that.
no. Well, at first I thought it was spam. So I went like deep diving because, of course, I had a husband who didn't tell the truth. So I was the best detective. And so,
yeah, we're former FBI agents. We just never had the official title for sure.
Exactly. So I went looking and figured out it wasn't spam. And so they wanted me on Good Morning Texas. I did it virtually to talk about narcissistic abuse. And I'm like, what the hell? And so what this made me remember, and what you always said, you don't need a giant following, because I don't have 1 million followers. I don't have that on all my social media platforms, but I have people who show up every day to listen to what I have to say. And my numbers grow because I'm telling my truth and I'm very specific who I'm talking to. Very specific. Because I have plenty of people who come on and like, what about the men? Okay, well, I don't talk to them, but insert whatever you need here.
Right. You just swap out girl and put boy if that's what you need.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I always say. I'm like, and so I'm talking to the people. So when I got really clear on that and wasn't scared about what I was doing and was just like really clear, I'm just going to tell my story, tell my truth. And I've learned how to tell it, because right now I have a couple of posts that are going crazy because I'm sharing about when I had to go to the OBGYN to have STI testing. And it's like, that's fun. But I don't even remember why I wanted to share that, but I wanted other people to know they weren't alone. And so my post is going crazy. So just having been reached out by people reaching out for me to be on their show, to ask me to come on because I'm a relationship expert or I'm a narcissist abuse expert and stuff like that. That's been crazy to me because I'm over here just sitting in my t-shirt and shorts with my cat. And they're like, would you like to be on my show? That kind of stuff is so crazy. And so it used to make me super nervous at the beginning, but now it's like, whatever, it's like, I know what I'm doing and I'll figure it out as I go along. I have learned that I'm nervous every time and it's always okay. So what can you do?
No. So there's been these hilarious, because we got to like throw a little sprinkle of petty, a little fucking cherry on top of being a dick.
Yeah.
As we are growing and moving through all of the things that we're figuring out, you have had and built community around yourself in the face of the tears that I got to see behind the scenes of like, am I not gonna like literally, I remember that call because I was driving. I was like, it's gonna be like a 30-minute drive. I was like, you couldn't cry in my ear. Like, let me call you in my car.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think because we don't talk enough about that stage, that's the stage that catches people up. It's not the other pieces that we probably think it is. It's the moment when you realize you start to move different in the world and your friends don't fuck with you like they used to.
Yeah.
And you don't fuck with them like they used to.
No.
Where you're just like, oh, what I require is different now. What I need is different now. What I accept is different now. What are some of the things that you've gotten to see post shedding season in this community building that you've done from your podcast, really, that you want to share a little bit about for somebody that maybe is having a similar story or just a story in general where they're like, I don't even want to go there because I'm going to be like you. I'm not going to have no friends. Yeah. And then what?
Right. And that was scary. Yes. That call was just me sobbing, going, am I just not going to have any more friends? And that's the weird thing, is that it's not like you're breaking up with anybody. It's just that you see them differently and they start to see you differently. And so you just don't mesh anymore. You don't vibe anymore. It just doesn't work out anymore. And you don't want to compromise your integrity. That's what my therapist kept telling me. It's like, you're compromising your integrity when you do this. And I was like, that is intense. So I'm like, why did I leave what I left if I'm going to keep doing the same shit over and over and over? But leaving that and then starting to heal, it's like, you can't go back. That's the thing. You can't go back. There's no going back. There's no way to do it. That's why when we say that person doesn't exist anymore, she doesn't exist anymore.
No.
There's like, I
I
think
don't
about
even see
it.
remnants of her for the most part 3 years
Yeah.
later. It's
Yeah.
like all brand new bitch over
It
here.
is. And so
Brand
it's
new.
fun to figure out like, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I like? And it's like, you can do whatever you want. So, like I was saying before, just if it feels hard, that doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. So, tough it out during that time. Because what I found was, and what you told me was, the wrong people are leaving and there's room for the right ones. And that might be new people, or it might be friends you already have that just didn't have room in your circle because of whatever situation. Who knows what the reason is, but it's like it all just starts aligning. And I have the most beautiful friends around me who, when I was crying to them, going, when I tell my story, people leave. And they would look at me and go, you told me your story and I didn't leave. And I needed to hear that from them. And thankfully, they weren't like, God, I can't believe you. I can't believe you don't notice me. They weren't like that. They were just wanted me to see because they're further along. And that's how I base my whole podcast and why that's where I'm at. Because where I'm at is further along than the person behind me, but it's not as far as the person in front of me. And we're all helping each other. And so those friends that were further ahead of me were like, you're going to be okay. And I'm still here. And yes, keep telling your story because the wrong people will leave. And that was hard, but it was such a temporary hard. It was,
It's
yes,
like
there were,
ripping off a band-aid and letting it bleed for a little while. And then
yes,
you're like, okay, this scab formed. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna cry
yes,
about it because that's what the fuck I do.
yes,
Because I think the other thing too, and if someone's listening and they're in that phase or any of the phases along figuring out your stuff and stepping into a new human being in the world,
yeah,
those phases don't get easier. You just get stronger. Like I
that's it.
genuinely believe it doesn't. Like I don't think it hurts less. I think you just are able to process through it in a faster real-time capacity
Yeah,
where you don't end up in the bed for 4 fucking days
yeah,
eating ramen and Oreos and binging Netflix and
yeah,
crying in your bed where you don't want to see people or don't want a human.
yeah.
I had this moment for me, and I'm curious what this moment was for you. I had this moment back home when I went home when I was getting ready to get married. And it was homecoming, which is always like a really fun time in my
Hmm.
hometown. It's a small town, so it's just a
Yeah.
good time. And I had gone to our local little watering hole, which I had, over the years of being the messiest bitch on the planet, been a drunk ass in this spot. And I remember being in there and hanging out, and I had had too much to drink. And usually when I had too much to drink, it would get uglier. And I remember sitting there going, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
One, I don't want to do this anymore. And two, I don't even belong here anymore.
Let's get real. Gaslighting isn't just a buzzword. It's that sick, spiraling feeling in your gut when they say, that's not what I said. You always twist things, or you're too sensitive. I was just joking. Yeah, I can totally relate. I spent 33 years with someone who made me feel like I was the problem every time, no matter what. That's why I wrote, You're Not Crazy, Reclaiming Your Sanity and Self-Worth After Narcissistic Abuse. Because you deserve to trust your gut again. You deserve to trust you. And spoiler alert, you were never the problem. Gaslighting is the main tactic of a narcissist. This book won't fix your ex, but it will help you fix your peace. Just check out the link in the show notes to get your copy today. Don't wait to start your healing.
What was that moment for you along this? Or maybe there was more than one where things felt different in a same environment that used to be a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And you were like, nah.
Yeah. Well, I really thought when I first left my marriage that I was getting rid of the problem. And so like things were just going to be great. And I always laugh about that because I just didn't know. Right. And so one of the things I would do every day in my marriage was I would numb with alcohol. And so after I was divorced, I was still kind of having that, little cocktail here and there. But what I found was when I had a couple of drinks in, I would feel so dysregulated, and it almost triggered me back to the way it was in my marriage. It was giving me like that feeling, probably like you had, right? And I was like, I don't like this. And I always say, because doesn't have anything to do with drinking. So I want people to hear that. It has to do with listening to your body. Where are you? What are you doing?
How do I feel in my body? Where is this
Yeah.
uncomfortableness settling in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't drink, but I don't make it the habit I did, because I said, why did I do that? And why am I still doing it and I started to understand, because you get a lot of clarity after abuse. When you leave abuse and no one's abusing you, amazing how your brain
Yeah.
works.
It is, but it's also a little like, and I shared with you the other day, a couple of realizations that I had where I was like, the green flag feels like safety instead of the tuck and run. What is a moment for you
Yeah.
post divorce and as you're kind of stepping into and growing into who you're going to be, where something that would normally be a red flag that you would miss ended up being something different? Like, what was there a moment or a time for you that you can share a little bit about?
I don't even know. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I'm trying to think
Whether it's like hanging out with friendships or
oh, yeah.
conversations you're having or
Yeah.
places you're going or things that you're doing
Yeah.
where you're like, this used to be the thing I fucking loved. And you realize,
Yeah.
I don't actually like that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, like, even because I'm not only unraveling the betrayal of my husband, I'm unraveling my church experience and how that was similarly toxic. And so that was all happening at the same time. Sort of the church thing was sort of happening right before. And so that was like, my God, my entire life was unraveling. And so hanging around certain people going, I don't belong here anymore. Like, I'm not this person anymore. And it almost made me feel the way I used to feel before I learned how to set boundaries,
Mm.
because I wanted to go, I wanted to like scream and go like, that's not me. Stop talking to me like that. That was the old Laura. That's not me now. And you can't do that because then you'll run out of friends. So my therapist was always like, say whatever you want. You're not going to have any friends after. But so just what meant by that was that I felt like when I didn't have boundaries and people would step all over what I thought were my boundaries, and I'd be like, no, I don't like that. But I didn't know how to say that.
Yeah.
And so
You
there
aren't really
was,
allowed to in your immediate environment. So
yeah,
when you can't do that at home, are you really going to do it in the real world?
yeah,
No.
exactly. And so it was that kind of thing. I think certain places and then certain friendships where I was like, oh, yeah, I'm compromising myself in this friendship. I'm still living off of breadcrumbs in this friendship. And I did it. I knew that I was living off of breadcrumbs with my good friend, but I was willing to do that. But it's funny, when you change, you can't go back. And so my body was revolting and going like, why are you doing this? Like, you're really going to live off of breadcrumbs? We did that for 33 years. And now we can go buy our own loaf of bread. Why are we living off of breadcrumbs? And so that was hard. Those were some hard things, some real good relationships that I really wanted to keep, but I couldn't, because they wanted me to be the same and I wasn't the same. And I demanded, quote unquote, demanded of them something more than breadcrumbs.
Yeah. You mentioned boundaries, and as seeing you 3.5 years ago to who I got to see and getting to see it all the way through, like San Diego Laura will be different than Nashville Laura. And
Yeah.
those shifts have happened along the way.
Yeah.
For somebody that's maybe newer in this, I got zero boundaries and people just walk the fuck all
Yeah.
over me. What's something you could share for somebody that's listening that's maybe just baby stepping into be like, how do I even know
Yeah.
what a boundary needs to be? Because I've never had to have any. Maybe I should have had them, but I didn't fucking have them.
Yeah.
What are like one or two initial steps that people can start utilizing and implementing for them to figure out their own boundaries that you've learned over the last 3 years?
Well, I always get asked this question. This is like one of the questions I get asked is like, what's the most important thing? And I always say boundaries. I said, but you're never going to get to boundaries if you don't love yourself. So this is what I always ask people is, are you really easygoing? Because you know the people that you're hanging out with and you're like, hey, where do you want to go to dinner or whatever the question is? And they go, anywhere. I'm so easygoing. And then every once in a while, I'm going to run out of friends like this, but every once in a while I'll say, are you really easygoing or have you been taught that your wants and needs are not important? And they'll just like sit back and be like, oh shit, yeah. So that's how you do the deep work of, I'm not going to give you a list of boundaries. I'm going to ask you, where are you compromising yourself? And that's the biggest thing is you've been told somewhere along the way, you were told that your wants and needs are not important or they're annoying or something like that, right? Maybe by your family, maybe by the friendship systems you're in, whatever it is. And so then you just go, I'm so easygoing. It doesn't matter to me. Now, I still don't really like picking a restaurant if I don't want to.
Right.
That's not that big a deal to me. But if someone says, will you just pick for us? I don't have that same scared feeling like, what if I choose wrong? Because there isn't a wrong. Because if someone says, you know what, I really don't want to go to Applebee's. Can we just go get fast food or something rather than sit down? That's okay. And so boundaries start with self-love. And that's where it's going to be. What is it? So be aware of, where do you feel angry when someone steps on, like walks all over you? And that's what I was feeling. Before I knew what boundaries were, I would literally announce, somewhere along the way, I taught you guys how to treat me this bad. I don't like it. And that was my body saying, you need boundaries, but I didn't know what boundaries were. And so
Yeah.
starting to look at that, because what it'll look like in your family systems is, especially like with the holidays coming up, you're going to see like people who comment on what you're eating or what you're wearing or what you show up in or what time you show up. And it's like, that's hard. I mean, family boundaries are the hardest, but, but just saying like, can you not comment on what I'm eating? This is what I want to eat.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Of course, people are going to say you're being too sensitive or whatever, but just remember that's manipulation and you just got to keep strong. But it all comes down to how much do you love yourself? That's
Yeah.
the
No,
long answer.
I do. And no, I think it's a great answer because I do think, especially within a family system,
Yeah.
if people think it's like, oh, we're just joking, we're just like, no, what you're saying to and about me is fucking mean.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
accept
it's shaping you. And it is, whether people say they're joking or whatever, that has already gone in and is already starting to shape your neural pathways. You know, a speech therapist, so okay, neurology. And the nice thing is about our brain is that it can be rewired. So all that shit that people said to you, I always think about when people are like, oh, I don't want to take a picture or I look too fat. Like my friends who don't weigh anything, they say, I look too fat. And I go, whose voice is that? Like, like whose voice is that? Is that your mom's
told
voice?
you that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Who told you that? Because I can remember when I was 12 and my dad told me I was fat. And okay, that's a lot of years later. That's 46 years later. And I still remember that day. I remember exactly where we were in our house when he told me that. And that
And it became
hurts.
a belief that you carried all these years.
Yes. I look back at pictures when I thought I was fat. And I'm like, I'd pay to be that fat again.
Please let me get that fat one more time.
One more. I promise I'll be better. I'll
I
take
would
care
do
of
it.
myself.
No, I
Yeah.
do because we're so naturally hard on ourselves, especially if we grew up in environments
Yeah.
that don't edify us and love us and focus on the beauty of who we are and the picking and the bullying and the shitty comments. I want to talk a little bit about this one because I think a lot of people, especially if they listen to your podcast or they hear this episode, are going to think that so much of what you went through was these big monumental fucking moments.
Right.
And I think the thing I would love for you to share a little bit about is some of those really minute little moments or words or little snide remarks that are the things we have to unpack just as much as these big, huge monstrosity bullshit that we've
Yeah.
walked through. Sometimes it's those little shitty comments to little us that big us fucking carries around and makes a whole damn story about who we're not
Yeah.
because of a moment that was said to us by somebody who said something unkind. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that shedding and healing
Yeah.
that I've gotten to watch? Because like we joke now, like we get on different stuff or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, I am the talent. Like Laura 3.5 years ago would never have uttered those words. So we've
Exactly.
gotten to see the self-love grow and evolve in this last couple of years.
Yeah.
But can you share a little bit about that for somebody that maybe doesn't realize that's why I think this about myself? It's
Yeah.
not a big moment, it's a little shitty comment.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely 33 years of that, but also probably more of that in my family as well. Because we all have, when we have our role in the family, and I just remember being told I was too much and I was being too loud. And then I went into my marriage that way. And that was really hard. And it's not a surprise. Now I have a microphone so everyone can hear me clearly. And this will be edited so you can really hear it. So it was those little things of being fat or whatever. And then going into my marriage and like, you're too much. People don't like you. Just never feeling like I was good enough. And then that never feeling like I was good enough, I felt like that was sort of leftover from childhood. And we all have that, I think, in some regard. Somewhere along the way, we were struggling. I just think about my parents. They didn't have the tools, but also we can all learn. There's still time to learn. And I mean, I'm doing that because I'm not taking this into the next generation. I'm not letting my granddaughter be this way and think anything other than she's just amazing. And she doesn't have to be beautiful or anything like that. Like, I don't want that to be her identity. I just want her to do whatever you want, be whoever you want. And just feeling like I was not enough felt like that was my theme of my life. And everywhere I was as an adult, you're not enough. So I think that's why sometimes I get hard on myself. It's like, I always would think in church where they'd bring people on stage to be like, this person just got off of drugs or whatever. And I'd be like, well, what about me and like the thing I overcame? And so that's why for me, the underdog stories or the little guy stories, you don't have to win the $1 million scholarship, but what about this person who was so struggling and then they got a $20,000 scholarship and it changed their life. Those kinds of things, those always are the ones that touch me because feeling like I wasn't good enough. I'm usually the person who's not number one, but I'm the one who people seem to gravitate towards in the room. And so that was really confusing because, like, oh, we're only celebrating number one. But then I'm over here going, but I'm a really great person. So why aren't you looking at
Just because
me?
I'm not number one is how come, yeah.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things I try to talk about with people and encourage them.
No, there was this moment for me, and I'm wondering if you had a similar moment as well, where as I started to kind of figure out myself and little Gabby and all of the
Yeah.
ways that I needed to grow from and heal from things that were said, because I think that in our environments growing up, that they're like, yeah, I'm going to do some shit to fuck them up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody goes into that. I think it's just an unintentional consequence that
Yeah.
occurs.
Yeah.
And then it becomes our narrative. It becomes our belief. It becomes the way that we think that we should or shouldn't be. And then we choose from that. We choose from that wounding.
Yeah.
What are you excited about now that you're like, I ain't the same bitch? 3.5 years, Laura, two and
Yeah.
a half years, Laura, two
Yeah.
years, Laura.
Yeah.
What's exciting for what's coming next for you?
Just that I can do anything I want to. So like when I'm dreaming, I'm like, what could I do? And so the more I do this healing work and the more I'm doing the podcast and stuff, I get excited for thinking of other ideas. What else could I do? How else can I get the word out there? What kinds of things could I do? So some days I'm too tired to think that way, but I don't really have a ton of ideas, but I'm always like, I want to write something. I want to do this. I want to do that. I feel like my brain is constantly going because it's not being stopped anymore. I'm not being constantly told that I'm not good enough and things like that. And I don't have to I check my numbers all the time because I want to see what's working, what's not working. And I think that's important. And when I do, it doesn't mean that I say, oh, okay, I'm doing everything right. And so then that's what drives me. And now I feel good about myself. That's not what it is. Because I know just by if I get one message on social media or in my email that says, thank you for sharing your story. I get that every single day. Thank you for telling your story. I literally just got divorced 2 days ago and found your page. And that kind of stuff, it just reminds me of all the people at the beginning who told me not to talk about it. A little over 2 years ago, when I was first dreaming this up, they told me, don't talk about it. Don't. And the only person we're protecting is the abuser when we don't talk about it. And I didn't understand that. And I remember talking to you going, I don't get it. Why don't they want me to talk about it? And that was so hard for me to unravel. And so the dreaming is just wild because I'm such a different person. So now I keep looking. And I even said this to somebody yesterday. I said, I don't know what next year's going to look like. I wonder what I'm going to do with the show. So I think I'm already starting to like feel something. I don't even know what that means, but that's how we started the podcast anyway. Who knows
Yeah.
what it means, you know?
Because I think we all get those moments where like, I have no idea what this will become or turn into or transition from this like little mustard seed of an idea or just this little fleeting moment. We were like, I wonder what that's about.
Yeah. So I said that yesterday. And so who knows what that means? I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen next year. So I think something is like brewing in my noggin, but you know, I have menopause brain and all that. So, so who knows?
It's about 1100 degrees in my body between perimenopause and the heat.
Yes.
It's ghetto. I'm over it in every form or fashion.
Yeah, seriously. Look, if we can do it in the middle of like perimenopause, you can do it too.
Seriously. What would you say to somebody that's listening? Because I think you touched on it at one point and you said something about, oh, I've always been this way, or it's a conscious decision to go, no, I'm going to dig through my shit and I'm going to figure it out so I can be a better human, to be a better mom, to be a better spouse or brother, sister, cousin, auntie, whatever.
Yeah. Are you feeling trapped in a relationship that leaves you questioning your worth and sanity? Have you noticed the red flags and decided you can't live one more day in a toxic environment? Whether you've just left or are considering leaving a narcissistic partner, the book, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse is here to guide and support you. In this candid memoir, I share my 33-year struggle in a marriage to a nice guy that was marked by emotional manipulation and abuse, revealing how I broke free and reclaimed my life. If you've been waiting for a sign, this book is it. If you've ever felt isolated, confused, or hopeless in your relationship, Married to a Nice Guy, Getting Over Narcissistic Abuse offers the understanding and guidance you need to break free and start your journey to healing. You are not alone, and you deserve a life filled with love, respect, and happiness. Order your copy today and take the first step towards reclaiming your life.
You talked a little bit about the understanding of that shift and how there's accountability to it that a lot of people don't want to have. How did you decide it was time? Because maybe there's somebody listening that they're like, well, I don't fucking like how I feel, but this is how the fuck I've always been. And that's what my mom does. And that's what my dad does. And so this is who we are. And they're like, but I don't really want to be that way, but I don't really know how this goes. What would you say to somebody that's listening that is sitting in those shoes right now?
Yeah. Well, I always encourage some sort of therapy or holistic coaching or holistic therapy, like hypnosis or meditation, things like that, to like really start thinking about when you say, I've always been that way, really think about who gave you that identity. Because we didn't just, I mean, I think about it like in certain ways I am like my mom, but then I also changed who I am by going to therapy, by healing those broken parts of me that I saw that she didn't want to touch those parts of her that were broken because she was born in the 30s. Like who was going to therapy then? Nobody. She didn't do those things. And so I saw things that I was like, I don't want to be like that. I didn't have to make that announcement. Okay. I just
If you
was,
keep it and you're like, I think
yeah,
that's
I just,
it.
right. And so it's making that decision. And you might have some pushback because people in my family were like, oh, therapy, it's so stupid, whatever. So that's why you have to remember, and this goes back to also the friendship thing, everyone you share with is not going to be safe. So be careful who you share with. So when I would share like tiny parts of my story and I wouldn't get a reaction, or they would be like, oh, okay, I would know that's not a safe person. And then there'd be other friends who were like, oh my God, tell me everything. I want to hear what you're going through. How's your healing going? Tell me what you're pulling up because they'd been through it. And those were the safe friends. They weren't going off and telling the world or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's really unpacking when you say, I've always been this way. Why are you saying that? Because that's a knee jerk reaction that it's just always the way you've been. You don't have to stay that way. I say, if you're not dead, you're not done. So
Yeah.
so just keep going. Keep going.
No. What is a thing you're excited about? Because I feel like, and I make you sit in the excitement of all the dope shit you've done the last couple of years,
Yeah.
even when you're super annoyed with me about it. But what's something that's coming for you that you're like, I can't fucking wait for this?
Well, okay, it's so weird because like some days when I'm on social media and people are getting a million likes or whatever, I'm like when I go, I wish I would get more views or whatever, not because of me, but because people need to hear this story. People need to hear this warning. And so I'm looking forward to like getting some bigger names on my podcast to really expand my reach, to get the word out to more people. I would love to. I mean, doing Good Morning Texas was scary, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. You know, that now I know. Now I know the drill, so like stuff like that, doing those kinds of things, I could see that. That would be really fun to do those kinds of things. But always because you and I have talked about this, because I was like, I feel bad. Like, I don't want to run my business off of, haha, I gotcha. Like I'm like getting back at him or something. Right. So, and you said, no, the cherry on top is the fuck you. But that's what you said. You said the rest of the Sunday is you helping women. And I was like, oh, I can live with that. So the cherry on top can be, haha, fuck you. And so that's how I live. And so of course, when I was on Good Morning Texas, I was like, oh my God, like so many people are hearing this. So excited. I had so many friends watch it. I have a friend who lives in the city it was in, and she was recording it for me. And it was just so exciting. And then, of course, I had to do a video and and use a Taylor
No, you
Swift.
have to do a video. Like,
I always have to do it. And then use a Taylor Swift song that says, he never thinks of me except when I'm on TV. And so it's just that kind of like, I love putting the cherry on top, but I get so excited to like expand my reach so I can reach more people and then just keep doing the cherry on top. But I live off of that. It's just
no,
when you've had to be quiet for so long, like there's not enough words for me to say.
no, I get that. You and I have had that in common this last couple of years. So as we kind of wrap this up and think about that's where I'm at 2.0, because
Yeah.
2 years down and
No, it's so
it
crazy.
doesn't feel like that.
No.
Like it feels like that first phone call where we're like, well, maybe we might be doing some shit together. Like that kind of lean in.
Yeah.
What do you want to share about the need to lean in to people that get that tug? And it doesn't have to be a podcast. It could be a book.
Yeah.
It could be speaking in a school. It could be speaking up at work. There are
Yes.
tugs and pulls on us that are pulling us to those bigger purposes. Those like this wounding and this scar is
Yeah.
going to light the world up and help women heal all
Yeah.
over the whole fucking world. But they're scared of it because I feel
Yeah.
like you were that girl three and a
Oh,
half years
yeah.
ago and you're not anymore.
Mm.
What would you say to the woman that's you 3.5 years ago that has that little tug? I can kind of feel it, but I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, I ain't there yet. What would
Yeah.
you say to her?
Well, I just think about that and I would ask them to think about When you think about sharing your story, who comes to mind that would go like, oh my God, I can't believe you're sharing that. What you're saying is not important. It always comes down to that. So that's why you got to do the work. That's why you have to do that inner work, because we have been given scripts for our whole life. And sometimes we have to say, you know what? I don't subscribe to that anymore. That's not the way I think anymore. So at first, for me, the thought of sharing was really scary because I thought, well, what if this person sees this? So what if never what if he sees it? I didn't care. But it was about people in my friend group and it was people around me and thinking, what if they think it's not right that what I'm doing? And so I have had people tell me stories and I'm like, have you shared that with anyone other than me? Which I love that people just share. I have that high frequency vibration that people are like, hi, Laura, nice to meet you. And then they tell me their entire life story. They tell me their deepest, darkest secret. And I'm just like, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
But
no, which I think makes the best podcasters, because I cannot tell you how many clients we do shows for or people that I meet. Like, if that is your natural gift, then bitch, get a mic.
Yeah, seriously.
Because not everybody has that gift. And it's a gift to have such a kind heart that people are like, I know you're safe for me to say this to.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to go anywhere. And man, like, what a gift that is to give to other people. Because it's not a transactional thing. It's just, it's literally a gift that God gave you to see and love on people in a way that the whole wide world isn't wired for.
Well, and I always say that if you spend too much time with me, I'm going to brainwash you into believing in yourself. And I do that all the time. And so when people are like, I've had people share certain things in my DMs and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so when people say like, oh my gosh, how can you be on social media and you're not even wearing any makeup and whatever? I'm like, because there's a woman that was me 3 years ago, sitting in her living room dying. And if I don't tell my story, she's going to die. And so that's who I talk to. And so when you have a story to tell, I have a friend who a few years ago, it's been quite a few years ago, but something was going to be happening in her family's life. And she was only telling a few of us. And I said, I really think you should share that on social media. And she said, no, I'm so ashamed, or whatever the thing was. And so I gave her the courage to do that. There was nothing in it for me. I just knew that if she shared that, her story, well, let me tell you, she had a flood of people who responded to her to say like, thank you for sharing your story. And she came back to me a month later or whatever going, oh my God, I just would never expect this response, because we've been handed some shame. Somebody handed us shame that whatever you're going to say, and societally too, women have been taught like, just be quiet, don't ruffle any feathers, don't do those things. And so, but got to buck against the system sometime. And so I think about if my story could help one person, that's why I talk every single day.
Yeah. I think too often, and I love that you check your numbers, because I do think we want to know that. Like, I think it's important, but I love that you understand that it really isn't about that. Like, okay, cool. Like, there's fuckery that goes viral and 2 million people download it. But is that what you want to be consuming in your ears? Is that what you want to absorb and make capacity for in your life?
Yeah.
And I think getting to put good out. And there was you already know I love Gary Vee. Like,
yes,
he's my unintentional mentor from afar.
He doesn't know it.
He has no idea, but we're going to be best friends. I mark my words.
I love him. Well, drag me along.
Oh, you know you're going to go. He said something to somebody, because they do these really cool clips where people will come up and ask him questions. And they're probably some of my favorite little clips that he does.
Yeah.
But there was a guy that came to him, and it made me kind of think of you in this story and your growth, where he was telling him, he's like, man, he's like, successful guy, built a multi-million-dollar business. He's like, but like every day he was waking up just miserable. Wow. Absolutely fucking miserable, because he was trying to outrun the wounding of his life.
Oh.
And he was like, I can tell you right now, man, you need to get the poison out.
Wow.
You need to get out of your body. You need to share what it is. I don't care if you walk into a field and you fucking scream it into the field into a void that nobody hears, or you sit in therapy, or you tell a trusted friend. And I look at it like, he said that very early on, I saw that video in Resilient Heart, and I was like, it's that.
Yes.
The healing that comes from standing on your truth,
Yeah.
owning what it is, and then choosing to make a different choice so that you can grow and become who you're meant to be.
Yeah. For me, it's like making this decision to really change my life, change the generational patterns, and then to have a granddaughter and to look at her and go, I gotta get emotional right now. Like I did it for her. She doesn't have to go through it.
She
She's
doesn't even know.
She
She
doesn't
doesn't
even
even.
know. I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, and I have to like hold myself back because I'm like, I can't put this much pressure on her. But it's like, you don't understand how much I love you.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's very
But
much, I feel like it's the Lion King scene, holding up Simba, on Pride Rock. And that's how I feel with her because you get to see it. But not only that, seeing it in my kids.
yeah.
And this is something else I want people to hear. Like, no matter what kind of a mom you were, walking out of my marriage where we hate mom was the theme.
Yeah.
And because that's how he had brainwashed everybody. And that two of my kids texted me when we said we were getting a divorce, and they texted me separately and said, I'm so proud of you for doing it. And then having healing with them and apologizing and just going on a healing journey, apologizing to them apologizing to me. It's never too late. Please hear this. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just you can change. Stop saying this is the way it's always been. Because if it sucks, then why do you want it to be that way every day?
No, it is. It's a choice. I'm so excited for everything that's coming for you.
Me too.
And I think it's cool to be somebody that sees it before it happens. Cause then I'm like, the petty me is like, yeah, bitch, I knew.
I knew it.
I fucking knew it. Now
But
I get to watch
I want to
it.
ask you about that because like when you saw it, when you saw it in me, you're like, oh, she doesn't know. But what does that look like to you? Like, don't you kind of have to keep it inside, right? And you just let out those little bits of encouragement along the way. Yeah, because you're not going to go, oh, yeah, you're going to be a superstar.
I'm
you
like,
know?
you're gonna be on Good Morning Texas, bitch. You don't even fucking know it
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
That one I didn't see. I'll tell you that. But I fucking cheered the shit out of that opportunity for you.
Yeah, I know. I remember you're like, sending me all the crying emojis, and I'm like, I can't
'Cause
believe
I'm
it either.
like, full disclosure, if I send you crying emojis, a bitch cried.
Yeah.
This is not just an emoji thing. There were tears, and a bitch carried tissue in her bra in every pocket. And my husband hates it because I'm like, I'm a crybaby bitch. And it's usually in championing for women that get to
Yes.
step into that power and getting to watch it and see it unfold and be like, that's my fucking girl.
And then after, because you're like because I was doing it virtually, but you're like in the fake green room after, and they're like hang around after and whatever. And they were just like, Laura, that was so fabulous, whatever. And I was just like, and I recorded myself on the show. And just even seeing that, I could see my face like lit up so big when she said that to me because I was so nervous, but then it was over. And then she was like, Laura, that was so fabulous. Thanks so much. And good luck to you and whatever. And I was just like, I always tell people, the women I'm coaching, is like, hang on to those. That may not seem like a small win. That may seem like a big win, but hang on to the small wins as well. When you got out of bed, when you felt like you weren't going to, or when your friends are like saying to you, like you would say to me, I see so much in you. I know you're going to do big things. Hold on to those, even if you journal them, and even if you don't believe them, just hold on to them because all the little things add up to the big things. We're waiting for those big moments, and it's not all big moments. It's tiny little moments every day along the way because I'm in a sequin shirt right now. In 5 minutes, I'm going to be in a t-shirt and going to eat my tacos that I made for dinner. It's like normal life, but this is what healing looks like. Healing looks like we're laughing about our life with the clowns that we had to live with. That's healing to me. I used to be so embarrassed to laugh about it. And now I'm like, no, that's healing. And so I'm okay with it now. So
No, because I do think it all looks different at different points. Sometimes we're going to cry until we think, am I going to run out of tears? Because I'm pretty sure I'm surprised there's still more coming.
yeah.
And then these different moments where it's the petty cherry on the top of the sundae where you're like, and fuck you.
Fuck you.
And then there's the moments where you get to build. And I think I tell you this all the time, you move in the world to be the human that you didn't have.
Yes. Yes.
And I think you can choose that, because there's people that make a different choice. That they're like, people were shitty to me, so I'm going to walk through the world and just be an
Yes.
absolute fucking asshole because that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Instead of deciding, well, I know how being an asshole felt, or I experienced it.
Right. Right.
I'm not going to be that.
I got to heal into the person who I needed. And I think both of us can relate to that. We've grown into these women that would help the old us. You know, I met this girl at a luncheon and she's 15 and she was like, she was sitting next to me. I'm like, are you okay? She was like, I just broke up with my boyfriend. I go, well, I'm a relationship expert. If you have any questions, she goes, oh my God, I have so many questions.
Oh,
And so we talked and it was fun to be able to just say that. I'm not going to say, because not everybody's a narcissist, though there's plenty out there, but just to say I'm a relationship expert and just to hear, and well, he's a narcissist. Congratulations. I'm glad.
yeah.
I'm
So
like,
and the diagnosis
and
is
we diagnosed him. Sorry. But I mean, they have the same patterns. And so just to even talk about that and then to be able to build a 15-year-old up, because 15-year-old me was like, I need a boyfriend or I will never feel worthy in this world. I need a boy to love me. And
Yeah.
that's what I chased all my life. And now I don't have to do that. And that's why when men are like, why are women just wanting to stay single? Well, because we're sick of y'all.
We ain't got time for the fuckery. We ain't
Step it
signing
up.
up.
Step up your game or you're not going to find us. And you sure can't, you're not going to be able to find me at my house because I don't open the door. Except
You're
for
like,
the
"You in my Hello
delivery.
Kitty pajamas and peaches. We are watching true crime and we got no fucks to give with our snacks in the bed."
Correct. That's how it
So
is.
is there anything you want to share, whether it's a sneak peek into year 2 for That's Where I'm At, or just something that you want to talk about before we close this out?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just excited for it to continue. Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep like bringing stuff to you guys to be able to go through this journey. Every time I hear your stories, let me tell you, my brain goes to work at how can I talk to you about it? How can I help you heal from it? And so that's what I want to continue doing. So when I'm thinking about some of these accounts I run into on Instagram, I'm like, I want them on my show because they're going to help my listeners. And so just know that that's how I'm always thinking about you guys. And I don't know. I feel like in my soul that we're going to do something else next year. I mean, we're going to keep the show, but something's going to happen. I have no idea what that is. And we'll just let it flow and see what happens and see who we can get on the show so that I just want to keep reaching more and more and more women because I know how alone I was. Somebody told me the other day they were telling somebody about narcissists and they said, "What's a narcissist?" My work here is not done. So I must
No.
continue to talk. So just, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if you guys have ideas of something you think, I should be putting out there for you guys, but I'm not sure. I'm just excited to keep going. Like, I don't feel like I'm stopping anytime soon.
No, and I think the cool thing about not having a decision about what comes next
Yeah.
is that you get to just be wide open to the directions that it goes, because now you trust yourself. You trust those moments where you're like, let's try this. Let's check this out. Let's talk about that. And I think healed you, or healing further along healing, we'll call it, because I don't know that we're ever healed.
No.
We'll lean into what is for your highest and best for
Yes.
for you,
Yeah.
instead of the you that was wounded and hurt all these years.
Yeah. And you can see the difference the further you go along, right? And the more healing you do, the decisions I make are different. I'm not just choosing whatever. I'm not just having whoever on the show just because I'm allowed to choose because I'm the talent. I'm allowed to choose. But also because I don't want to waste anybody's time. I want people to come on here, listen for an hour and like walk away with something to help them move on their healing journey. So it's fun to be able to make those decisions. And you've helped me, learn how to say no to some people and be okay with it. And you're like, always like, it's your show. My God, just tell them no.
Literally.
Okay.
I'm like, I won't even respond if I'm like, nah.
I know. I know. Because people are like, I should be on your show. Like I meet people at networking events who go, I'll be on your show. And I'm like, I want to go, do you know who
You
I am?
you need to be invited. Like I think, but
Excuse
I
me.
almost would say that 3.5 years ago,
Yeah.
you'd have, I don't want her to be mad. I
Yeah,
want her
exactly.
feelings. Like you would have made different choices
Right.
then than you do now. You're like, nah, we good.
Yeah. I'll be like,
I shut my calendar down. I'm not doing interviews. I was like, okay, I fucking love that for
I,
you.
I have people all the time who want to be on the show and I kind of screen them and I go, okay, well, here's my calendar, but I'm not open till 2026. And they're like, really? I go, well, yeah. I mean, that's just, and I'm okay with that. It's been really good to heal that part of me and that's what a boundary looks like. I'm okay that you can't get an event with me for my podcast until 2026. I have to for my own sanity because I'm coaching women and I have a lot of episodes ready for you guys. So
Low key, the Proof Hub back office
is all me.
is Laura Richards. That's where I'm at podcast. So we'll be invoicing you for the doubling of our revenue.
Hey, this is not my problem.
Revenue spend.
I can't help it.
You're like,
Don't give
listen,
me a
I'm the talent.
microphone.
You didn't know that you were going to work with a rock star, so I'm just going to
Exactly.
fucking adjust. Which
What do
I
you want
love
me to
that.
do? Yeah, I mean, because we know in podcast world that people don't get past episode 7 in recording podcasts. So that I'm on episode 50 something. It's like it's amazing to me. And that's why I want people to tell their story because it's important. There's people who want to hear it. And every week people come back and hear the stories. And so we just got to keep going. There's people who need to hear what you have to say, regardless of what it's about.
Yeah, no, I do really think, and I say this all the time, I cried at a fucking networking event in front of a whole bunch of people I don't know. Because I genuinely believe there are stories that people lock inside of themselves that are the key to somebody else's success, freedom, healing, shift, movement. That like when you sit on that shit, I don't want to go. And I know you and I've had this conversation. I want to get to little baby Jesus Gates and he'd be like, I gave you a laundry list of talents and gifts and lean-ins that you didn't take. How do you feel about that? I want him to be like, well, you were very busy with all of the assignments I gave you and you executed who I wanted you to be. And that I think you do in such a beautiful way, not just on your podcast, but just in your life on and offline. And it's been while you are technically a client and we joke that you have to pay me to be my friend because I went through the shedding season and I was like, all of my clients are my best fucking friends and all the rest of them I don't have any. I have like a handful.
But we have the same vibe, and that's the thing. Is like we couldn't help it.
No,
I mean,
it was it was like when we got to hang out when I was in Vegas, I was like, oh my God, I love her. Like I thought I loved her on video and phone calls. Getting to like hang out with you, I was like, she doesn't even know.
Right.
That November meeting was like, she didn't even know.
Right. And even then, like God, I feel like I'm so different even from there. But
but
it's that, and I'm glad. Thank you for saying that because I do try to walk in this world, loving people, and that's just always been the way I've been, but have been shamed in so many ways for loving every kind of person and just the way I walk in this world trying to help others. And there was a lot of just people put me down for that. And so thank you for saying that because I don't know. I just love it. And I think people tell me all the time, it's like, I'm just really attracted to you. And from what I understand, it's that high vibration. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, I've been doing a lot of fucking work. So I hope you.
There had to be some fucking residual outcomes because no, I get the same comments and it's cool to see the shift. And I think as we close out, like, I just want people to know that happens, that shift happens. And then you get to just shoulders back, chest out, proud with your voice strong and feeling beautiful. And then it's like, fuck, that was worth it.
Yeah. I mean,
and so I'm excited, not just because we get to produce your show, but to be somebody that gets to be in your inner circle and love on you and watch you thrive and yell at you when you need it and love you when you need it. Yeah. I'm just excited for these next couple of years. And I'm excited to see what that's where I'm at will be doing because I know it's going to be beyond what you think.
Yeah.
It's what I'm.
That's what people tell me. So many of my friends have said that too. They're like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, what do you see?
Like, what is going, what now?
What?
Because I think part of the reason why I never say it
Yeah.
is because I don't want to influence it.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
support it and push when I need to push and love when I need to love.
Yeah.
And lean in when I need to and back up and give you space when it all ends up working out the way it's supposed to. But I think if I did it a different way, I don't think it would work as well.
Yeah, it's almost like, because it can turn into not necessarily manipulation because you're not negative that way, but you're influencing something.
Yeah. And I'm like,
right?
I just want to,
No, you don't want to push people there. Things just happen. Well, thank you so much for interviewing me. Thank you for being my friend and my producer and everything else.
To the mic on this one. We definitely slipped the mic.
Yeah, it's been great. So I just want to encourage everybody you're in Apple or Spotify right now, just click on 5-star review and tell us if this episode resonated with you or, whatever, just to let Podcast Land know you love us. And so we can keep doing this work. Thank you, Gabi. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you, lady.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me today on the That's Where I'm At podcast. Did the story today resonate with you? Do you think others would benefit from hearing the stories we are telling? Please go to Apple or Spotify right now to leave a review so everyone in podcast land will know you love the show. We want to continue sharing stories of hope and healing. I'll be back next time. I'll talk to you then.